Okay, now it is time for an immediate theater reaction for the first time. Yes, so of course, been taking you through several franchises. Of course, going through the Scream franchise, watched all previous 4 movies, leading up till this moment, basically within a month's time, the 25th anniversary, because the original came out December '96, so it's 25 years. It's just Scream, and we're just taking to that next level. Of course, the first time where Wes Craven isn't involved, but of course he couldn't be, having passed away back in 2015. But Radio Silence, these guys who did some other stuff that was considered rather quality, they've taken over and decided to take the next spin on the Scream franchise. So just to immediately jump into this, how did you feel coming out of this one?
Um, Obviously, I don't pick up on the clues of who it is. I mean, you kind of guess here and there, but like I've said before, I don't sit there and purposefully try to pick apart movies. But I still had fun, like I did with just watching the fourth one, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, this one I tried to look at least a little bit differently, thinking like, okay, could it be one of these kids in this film, or could it be someone else maybe we haven't seen, or someone from the past, like, even like I said before, where there's been play around with the idea that Stu could potentially come back at some point. Could they bring it back around and find a way to bring him in, which would have been cool. It's just a matter of logically finding a good way for him to be a part of that. But so there was always that whole idea, and I guess for the sake of this video, won't go too heavily into spoilers, but yeah, I mean, right off the bat, I would have to say, as far as the general weight of like the characters and their happenings, is probably some of the better in the franchise, honestly, especially with Dewey. With this one, he's definitely like kind of like the heart of the movie for the most part. He's in there a bit more than the other two, Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox, and then he is really selling the like kind of emotional lows in his life and where he's at right now. And so how would you say you agree, and you felt like he had a really good...
Yeah, he's still my favorite.
Yeah, I mean,
Besides Randy, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Dewey character in particular, it's just hard to not like him. Like, even though the series itself revolves around Sydney, and even though, like, you could argue that the Gale character is a bit more competent in certain ways, Dewey is the character that you honestly get the most attachment with. And with this movie, you definitely feel that a lot more, and you feel like you definitely connect with them on, on certain levels. Like I said, because David Arquette, he really does just kind of bring it. Like I would say with Courtney Cox, kind of the standout of the fourth movie, I would say that definitely David Arquette is the particular standout of this one. So as far as the new characters, the new actors in this movie, how did you feel about them by comparison to maybe previous other casts?
They were interesting. I mean, it's been like the other movies, the crop of characters. They obviously have, well, I'd like to think they have a little more depth than prior characters, but they all brought something to the table, and I thought they did good.
Yeah, all in all, pretty decent. As well as other actors that have come back from the fourth movie, Mary Shelton, who was Hicks in that film.
I know.
Yeah,
Lemon Squares.
Yeah, she was definitely like a bit of a fun little goofy-ish character from the previous movie, and she was back in this one. And you see that her son, the one blonde-headed kid, his name is Wes, of course, assuming it's an obvious tribute to Wes Craven, amongst other things in this film. Both of them pretty good for what little bit they have in this film. Very, very good, I would say. I would say, honestly, as far as like the general suspense factor, as far as actual tension, I would say overall it's the best probably since the original, at least when it comes to like that opening. Like when I said before about like how the opening of the original film is the most tense, and like I said, after that everything is good like in that original film and everything, but it's never like full on like meant to make you feel like that tense. It's always, like I said, more of a fun factor in a sense. This movie, honestly, like overall, kind of holds that tension throughout a lot of stuff, especially the opening scene. Like I felt like, especially since it was very much like a slight recreation of that first one, I would say that whole opening sequence was like pretty awesome. Would you say?
Mm-hmm.
You feel the same way? Like especially with the cadence in Roger Jackson's voice and the way that they had him deliver lines in this one, definitely a bit different than what was done previously. It's that same like intensity, but you know, this is what I'm talking about. Like it's as far as like how he speaks and like just kind of how he has a little bit longer form dialogue in a certain way, you know, just certain cadence that was a bit different in this one that I felt like worked and added a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
you know, intensity to it. And like I said, with a lot of the kill scenes, I would say overall the better kill scenes, because they definitely up the ante a bit more.
Yeah, a couple of them were definitely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like even with just the basic stabbings, they took that to another level as far as like how they stabbed them, where they stabbed them, and it's just like, yeah,
No.
like it was pretty ballsy, I would have to say. So yeah, I mean, it's like for the most part, like I said, I was pretty much with it all the way through. You get to the very end, once you get to the reveal of the killer and or killers. How did you feel about who they were and their general motivations? Did that work for you at all?
I don't know. I guess I still don't really get why they, or who, or just, I don't know. I'm not very good at that bit. Why? But, you know, I guess everybody has their reasons. If they want to be a fame whore, if they want to just because they're batshit crazy, you know, whatevs.
Yeah. Like I said, the movie, like I would say, like I said, pretty much like at least like 80-90% through it. Honestly, I was very much into it. Like I said, I like the way they executed a lot of things, especially one particular death. Intense, but it was well done, where they easily could have not made it work. But getting to the ending and the revealing of the killers themselves, to be quite honest, I don't know if I'm with it 100% by comparison. Even with the flaws of like maybe previous films and stuff like that, I still don't know if it quite matches up to the rest of those as far as like the actual characters and just their general motivations. It plays like how previous ones, you know, they all have like a similar, you know, sort of like core reasoning as to why. But even with this one, I'm just not honestly 100% sure. I'm not quite sure that clicked with me.
See?
I'm really not sure.
See?
I just like, I'm like, I don't know if that was, again, especially with like we know with a lot of certain things, it's like how people make a lot of movies today. And I'm like, okay, well, and how Scream is always a commentary on certain things.
Yeah, it was definitely a commentary.
Which makes sense. It does make sense. But at the same time, especially, I'm like, it's the first time to where I'm just a little bit like even with characters like Mickey and other ones like that, and like Jill's crazy ass, even with this one, it was the first time where I'm just a little bit like, could you have done better with that? Like, I don't know if I'm feeling it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's different. Mr. Expert is getting all tripped up.
And like I said, I love
You know what happens to the experts?
Man, man, y'all can kiss my ass on that. But I'm just like, it's just like, again, I'm just like, I don't know. Like I said, even with the flaws of previous ones, like I said, where the killers and for the most part, always want to work in some way, shape, or form. And like I said, I know Scream plays on certain general themes, but I'm still just like, I don't know. And I felt like, especially with this one, knowing it's supposed to be like how they refer in the movie itself, like requel, which that's kind of like the phase that we're in, the sequel to the original, which kind of, and they play it like on Halloween. Like I said, kind of like what I said before, like where we're kind of going back and then doing these like direct sequels. So obviously, yeah, I get that, but I felt like just the general way that they did it, I'm like, by the very end, first, like I said, for like basically the first time where I'm just like, I'm not sure 100% that clicked with me, especially with the characters involved. It's like, maybe y'all should have done something a little bit crazier. Just to be perfectly honest, I'm like, y'all probably should have just gone balls to the wall instead of with what they did with these guys. I don't know, that's just me. Again, I don't know if you 100% agree or not, but I'm just like, that's just me.
Well, I mean, they could have pulled out all the stops and done, really changed it and do like, what, 3 killers? Because other times have been 2, you know? So it's like, 3, you know, I don't know.
Maybe.
What do I know?
Yeah.
What could be, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the whole general consensus is going to be for most people. I just, like I said, I just expected just probably a little bit more by the end. Because like I said, I was with it pretty much 100% throughout. Like I said, a lot of good execution. Like I said, Roger L. Jackson, as far as the kills, the suspense factor. It was all like really, really good. I just felt like the ending itself, I would have to, like I said, see it again later on, but I just felt like it just kind of happened to an extent. Like I just felt like it needed a little bit more, or like I said, just change up the plotting and maybe the characters involved. I don't know, but I'm just like, I don't know if I'm feeling it as much. I'll be honest, I don't know, and that hurts me to say it. It does. It hurts me to say that. You know, it's just, but yeah, I don't know, but like I said, I mean, it's good. It's for the most part of, like I said, overall a good movie. I'm just saying, like, I don't. You know, I know some people out there are going to disagree. Like, say, if you see this, it's like, you know, some people would be like, hey, I'm 100% on board with that. But honestly, to be like, it doesn't, I don't know. Again, that's just me. That's just me. So what would you just give a final general rating? Did you say you, like, it's maybe a general idea where you would rank it in the franchise, maybe?
Maybe 1, then this one, then the 4th.
It's fair enough. I could see that.
And then I don't really know. Well, then probably 2 and then 3.
Yeah, I'd see that's about where probably most people would go. Yeah, for me personally, like I said, the bulk of the movie, for the most part, definitely in the better half of the series, for sure.
Yeah, I do like the 4th one.
I just felt like, honestly, just like the ending and overall just the killers, probably rank them towards the bottom, which is kind of, like I said, it's kind of fucked up, but I'm just saying, like, that's just the truth. Like, I just, honestly, I like previous killers better, killers, and even just the overall endings of maybe some of the previous films just a little bit more. But that's just me.
Yeah, having just watched the 4th one, that one was pretty good too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, good time. It was a good time, but I'm just like, again, where they leave you, because as I said, like, there's plenty to complain about in 3, but it's where they leave you with it. And like I said, I particularly like Roman and just the general, where that went. Like I said, overall execution could be better. This one's kind of flipped, where most of the movie, pretty much like solid stuff all the way through, like A+ material in a lot of sense. Where they left me, not 100% on it, just at least after an initial viewing. But yeah, so that's where I'd leave it. So I'd probably rank it, at least for the time being, in the middle for those reasons. So that'll be it. Okay, so that is our review of Scream 2022.
Spoiler free at the moment, anyway.
Yeah, spoiler free at the moment, but I guess we'll follow
review,
that up
reaction,
a little bit.
you know, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, a little bit later. So anyway, it's time to get home, get some sleep, and then just let it all marinate and see where we go for him. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.